Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Litter Media Live with the icon Mike Smith back in studio. I'm Dan Ramey. Thank you for joining us on this Monday.
Have I been gone?
Yes, you have, but you're back now.
I'm back. Back in the saddle again.
We appreciate your arrival here today. Coming up in a moment, we'll take a look at the forecast for you. We'll also I guess at some point in time, talk about where you were.
Okay.
And we'll also get folks caught up to date on sports, news, and this state in history, and a radio bit. So we'll have all that for you in just a bit. But first, we want to talk about the weather, right?
Yeah. Increasing clouds throughout the afternoon. There's a chance of showers and thunderstorms popping up here sometime in mid-afternoon, and that could go through this evening. And we're looking for highs in the low to mid 80s. You know, I was in Florida, and every day the heat indices there was 100 to 105. So we get back up here, and everybody's squawking about how hot it is at 83. Laura said, "People think this is hot." Of course, if we had been here the whole time, we would have been whining like everybody else, probably. So, yeah.
So was it a really muggy heat?
Yes. If you went out, in fact, the first day we were there, Sarah she goes with us on vacation. She wanted to go out and just kind of look around on the beach. And I had clothes like this. And we weren't out there 5 minutes. When I got back in, I felt like I needed a shower right then. We didn't stay at Sanibel, but we were able to go over to Sanibel and look at the island. And it's a lot better than what it was a year ago. Well, not a year, last December, but still the devastation is incredible. It's going to be a long time before the place that we stayed, they're still working to get it ready. I think they're talking about 2024 before they can start taking reservations again. So
the bridge to get to Sanibel's okay?
Yeah, they're still working to bolster it up, so to speak. Huge rocks that they're bringing in. Yeah. The bridge broke in 6 different places. But if you've ever been over that, and I know you and your wife were there one year, it's like 5 miles long, but it's on sandbars.
Right.
Well, the hurricane basically blew those sandbars out, and that's what they're trying to bolster it up with big rocks and things like that.
Because hurricanes can't move rocks, right?
Well, so they say, yeah.
Yeah, because if it can get down to where that sand is, it's going to, the earth moves, as they say. So, good to have you back.
That's good to be back.
And in studio.
As Dorothy says, there's no place like home.
Did you click your little red
on the airplane as we were landing? I was doing that, yeah.
All right, coming up, we'll take a look at the news stories for today that maybe we talked about over the weekend. Maybe you saw some things, but we've got more coming up throughout this week that we'll share for you here in just a bit also. But first, let's tell you about our fine sponsors, including Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, your trusted comfort advisor. They've been taking care of this business for more than 40 years, so they know what they're talking about, and they have survived through everything, and they've expanded. So if you want to learn more, click on this ad anywhere you see it at littermedia.com, where you can learn more about Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
You haven't had vodka soda like this. No one has. Made with the world's smoothest vodka plus real juice. New White Claw Vodka Soda.
Archway of Opportunities is a scholarship program. It can include the crew members and it can include managers. The scholarship is $2,500 for crew members and it's $3,000 for managers. For my store alone, we've had $35,000 go out just in 1 year. And for all 7 of our stores, we had $66,000 in scholarship funds.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
And coming up here after our program today, we'll be talking with a representative from Pickaway Ross Career and Technology Center about their adult education program and what they have ahead for the 2023-24 year. So that's coming up. But let's take a look at what's making news for us today on our website, littermedia.com, and through our social media as well.
Yeah, county fair season is cranking up. I think on Friday, Dan mentioned the Fayette County Fair starting today. Well, Jackson County Fair is also underway, and they crowned royalty at the Jackson County Fair over the weekend. Madeline Fannin, congratulations to her on that big honor.
And thanks to Fane Photography. Apparently, Fane is taking all the pictures for Jackson County Fair for all their stuff, so you'll want to take a look at them on Facebook, and they have links to their website where you can learn more.
Yeah, so we'll keep you up to date each day on different things that are happening in Jackson County, and I think we had that up there a minute ago. Fayette County, they're also off and running. Big activity, Rolling Stone Rodeo. Does that mean that Mick Jagger is going to be there riding the ponies? I don't know. But that's at the grandstand, and, of course, we'll keep you plugged in on what's happening over in Washington Courthouse with that county fair as well.
That was a funny line, Mike. That's part of what I've missed with you being gone.
Well, you know, I'm refreshed, coming back and ready to.
And he's not crotchety.
Well, give me till tomorrow. Story that broke on littermedia.com on Friday. Ross County Land Bank supporting the McArthur Gardens Permanent Supportive Housing Project. Land Bank, partnering with the Ohio Department of Development's Brownfield Remediation Program, has contributed over $280,000 in funds and administrative support to the housing project. Now, this is located just down the street and away from where we're located here on Eastern Avenue. This is on Columbus Street. And once it's done, later this fall, it'll be a 32-unit permanent supportive housing complex owned and co-developed by Integrated Services for Behavioral Health. Many of our homeless folks that are out there, this will give them a place of their own, so to
and
speak.
McArthur, that's the reference to the McArthur school that was there.
That's correct. For I don't know how many years it was there, but this is a real neat thing that our community is doing. The nature trail at Hopewell Mound Group is currently closed due to a damaged bridge. The bridge is roped off and the trail is closed until repair can be completed. The bridge is not safe to hikers, so be aware of that. Of course, that's off Sulphur Lick Road. Sights and sounds of the old Ohio River will be coming to Portsmouth July 27th and 28th with the arrival of BB riverboats. Some referred to them years ago as the old showboats. Have you ever been on one of these things?
Yes.
This looks like it would be a lot of fun. This was like the cruise liner of its day. Only it was out not on the ocean, so to speak.
I don't remember the name of the boat that we were on, but it was we had I think our Christmas party for a radio station I worked for down at West Union. I believe we had that party on the riverboat in Aberdeen.
Yeah. This one in this picture that belongs to BB Riverboats is the Belle of Cincinnati. That's their home base. When they're going to be in Portsmouth on the 27th and 28th of this month, after they leave there, they go on down the river to the east. They'll be in Huntington, West Virginia, and another site not too far from there as well.
Of course, you always see them during a Reds game, or if you watch them on TV, they show the riverboat. It's making its way.
Speaking of riverboats and the river, River Days Festival will be September 1st through the 3rd in Portsmouth. That kicks off with events scheduled with big activities for the month of September, October, and November in, I guess, what would be our closest Ohio river city from us in Chillicothe, and that, of course, is in Portsmouth.
Let's just hop on the Scioto and go down.
Yeah, we could do that. They did it many years ago. Well, we've been talking about this next project for a couple of months, but if you're heading over in the Athens area, it's up and running. A new roundabout at US 50 and 33 Stimson Avenue near Athens. You just need to pay attention to the signage to determine your direction of travel. You see, when you come off that roundabout, you've got a choice. You can go 33 north, like you're going to the Plains High School or Columbus, or if you stay to the right, you're going to end up in Meigs.
Is the signage that we see in photo number 1 at the top there, is that actual signage, or is this a display by the...
No, that's the real
the
McCoy.
actual... Is that right?
Yeah, and there's 2 different locations, as you can see there.
Very nice.
So when you're going over in that area, if you're going to Athens High School, or maybe even going that way to go to Pomeroy Meigs or so forth, you'll discover that. It's like the first time you come upon it, but I didn't know they did. Well, if you're watching this show, Dan and Mike told you what to
I
look
have
for.
heard so much complaint about roundabouts, but and how many people foretold of there's going to be accidents. The ones they put out on 159 that the Zane Trace students just learning how to drive wouldn't know how to handle it, how they're going to get all the farm machinery and everything. I've not heard of one incident.
Not one.
Involved at the roundabouts.
Yeah, and these are really big. They're becoming bigger in Ohio, but they've been kind of the thing down south. We've seen them in the Carolinas, down in Florida, and it's...
And they're huge over in Europe, and I think that's probably the big thing. It's like, influences from Europe again.
Yeah, but they've found through a number of traffic studies over the years that this is a better way to manage traffic coming in and out of congested areas.
Remember that day in the radio studio in which we were talking about parking downtown, and Mayor Feeney was in. I said, why don't you have them put a roundabout in at Paint and Main? I think that would be really cool.
Oh, yeah. You'd be a real hit. You wouldn't get elected mayor, probably. The Friends of Hopewell Culture National Historical Park are offering a free guided tour to the public on July 22nd, which is this Saturday, from 9 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. at the Hopewell Mound Group on Sulphur Lick Road. We were just talking about this particular location with that bridge hike trail being closed, but this event will be going on as they show you some of the mounds there off Sulphur Lick Road. Tarleton Town Fair will be held July 30th from 2 to 8 p.m. in the village's downtown. Live music that evening will be Travis Brown Band.
Food trucks.
Through Tarleton many times. I guess I didn't know they had a town fair, unless this is something new that they're doing.
It's usually how things happen when the traffic gets slow. It is turn it into a town fair.
We're stopping you. You got to stop and buy from us here in Tarleton. But nice folks out there, and want something to do on the 30th of July, go out there and enjoy yourself. Mount Logan Branch Library in Chillicothe, they've had a bunch of things going on this summer for the youth. And here's another, this looks like a lot of fun. The Giant Bubble Show tomorrow at 4 p.m. It's for school-age kids, so Dan and I guess we're cut out. Now, if you notice the address...
Eat Main Street.
Obviously, they forgot the S.
Am I working in the graphics department there?
No, we can't take the responsibility for this one. Unless they're thinking about eating the bubble. I'm not really sure. Yeah. So. But enjoy that event out at Mount Logan Branch Library tomorrow. Kids and their parents are invited to go to battle with each other, but this is not a bad thing, folks.
Wait, is this another typo? Is it supposed to be Nerd Wars?
No, no. This is for real. The Ross County YMCA will host Nerf Wars on July the 29th between 1 and 3 p.m. Now, there's just a limited number of playing spots remaining, so if you want to get in on this, call the YMCA today. And Sheriff Matt Hafey up in Pickaway County Sheriff's Department is having a reserve golf outing. This will be held on September the 30th at the Pickaway Country Club. Proceeds will go to the Pickaway County Reserves Incorporated.
Now, before we jump into the road report, yesterday was birthday celebration time for Thomas Worthington. I want to say thank you to Kelly Johnson. She is the wife of State Representative Mark Johnson, and she was there, and she said, you can share my photos anytime you want. So there's Kathy Steyer, who we had in studio with us on Friday to talk about this event, or forgive me, on Thursday, to talk about the event. A number of folks were there. And there's the resolution from the state of Ohio.
All right. Sounds like a good time had by all.
I like this logo. This is really cool.
That is
now, we've got a couple years before we reach 250, but you're going to see a lot more of that logo around places, I think.
And that 250's gotten to be a big theme because the celebration of the American Revolution The Daughters of Nathaniel Massey chapter, DAR, they're using that, not that particular logo, but that 250-year theme as well. Now on to the road report in Benton County. A bridge replacement project begins today on State Route 324 between Township Road 11B and Township Road 11A. The road will be closed, and ODOT's detour is Route 324 to State Route 160 to North Main Street to State Route 324, and they anticipate that work will take them through August the 8th before it is finished.
I've noticed a lot of the construction that's been taking place, resurfacing of like Route 50 and 772. Still, there's a lot of the road signs still up.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that means they're not completely done or if they just haven't circled back around to take the signs down yet.
Well, that roundabout that we were talking about there over in Athens, the roundabout is open, but I just took it down today. In our road reports page, which you find at littermedia.com, it had that project still going through October, but those are just touch-ups.
Gotcha.
The roundabout's open, but there will be some things that won't really hamper traffic, so to speak, through the next month or two.
All I can think of is the group Yes.
A roundabout.
And roundabout.
Yeah. Na, 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 na. There you go.
Sports on the way in just a moment. Our Reds, they've hit a bit of a slide.
They needed me to come back.
They did need you to come back and see if you can lace them up. Anyway, we'll talk about the Reds and other things in sports for you. We do have a sad note in sports that we learned about over the weekend as well. We'll share in just a few. But first, let's tell you about our friends at Scioto Valley Dumpsters. If you need a dumpster for whatever reason, if you're remodeling, if you're cleaning house, if my wife calls and says, I want him to get rid of all these things in his back room office, you need to call Scioto Valley. So, Missy, call Scioto Valley Dumpsters, 740-253-8389. Carl will have either himself or one of his boys drop off a dumpster, and then when they're done, they'll haul it all away for you. And in some instances, they'll even help you clean up. Scioto Valley Dumpsters. Give them a call, 740-253-8389. Tell them Dan and Mike sent you.
Now that's one fast mower. Take command of your lawn with Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower.
At Rathkamp Financial, we provide wealth management services that may ease clients' fears of financial loss and help them retire comfortably. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652. Time for sports, and all I got to do now is find it. There it is.
Yay. Region 5 American Legion Senior Baseball Tournament gets underway today at VA Memorial Stadium. In fact, as we speak, Game 1 is underway between Chillicothe Post 757 and Waverly Post 142. After that game, at about 1:30, Hillsborough Post 129 will take on defending champ Harrison Yeager Post out of the Cincinnati area. Only 4 teams in the Region 5 tournament this year. The winner, which the championship round is Wednesday, losers round will be, bracket round is tomorrow. The winner will go on to the state tournament again in Lancaster. Now, if you were following our Twitter feeds last week, you would have seen that Waverly Post got to the junior state tournament, but they lost their first 2 games and bowed out. And again, that tournament at VA going on during the daytime hours each day through Wednesday morning. Paints, who were off last night, are back in action at Lafayette tonight. So Paints, who had a real good string going for them, back in action tonight out in Lafayette. Talking about the Reds a little bit earlier after, actually the slide started the last game before the All-Star break, where they went 3 consecutive games without scoring a run. And that, I think, was the second longest streak in franchise history. 4 games was the record. But they did score some runs yesterday. Actually had a 3-1 lead before losing by a score of 4-3 to the Brewers. Cincinnati now 2 games back of the Brewers in the National League Central. And the Reds are still at home. They're opening up a series with the Giants later tonight.
And this guy is the one that broke the ice. Was it 29 innings, something like that? They had gone without scoring a run.
Well, I thought Joey Votto's double scored the first run.
Is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
that scored the first run.
Well, he's the first home run since their home run drought started.
Correct.
So, because they had 24 straight games with a home run, and then the offense just shut down.
Thing about the 3 games where they were shut out, the pitching was outstanding. Yeah. 2 of those games were 1-0. One was 3-0. You can't ask much more, but so we scored some runs yesterday in the bullpen.
And the pitching was just better.
Yeah.
I think what caused all that was Craig Counsell's meltdown in Milwaukee when they lost to the Reds. And it's like, hey, are we in this to win it or not? And they turned on the extra stuff.
Yeah. Well, the news wasn't much better for the Guardians yesterday. They lost to their was that Texas or the Twins? I can't see very well.
Rangers.
Rangers, okay.
Rangers.
6-5, the final score.
Which means I have that wrong in our scroller. I apologize. I was going by the notes that Mike passed along.
When I saw T, I thought Twins, and it was Texas. Yeah. Uniota Volleyball won the championship at the Waverly Chillicothe Midnight Madness Tournament over the weekend. Congratulations to them. I think they said 3 of the final 4 teams were all from the SVC. And some sad news, Dan, that you alluded to from over the weekend. Yeah,
Erin Kelly, she is the lady on the left there in this driving duo, Erin Kelly and T.J. Pullen. They have been here at the Southern Ohio Forest Rally on 3 occasions. Here they were the winners, I think in 2021, if I'm not mistaken, of the New Hampshire Rally. In that rally this past Friday, due to a crash, she succumbed to her injuries in that crash. So they canceled the rest of the rally for the weekend. And it's tough. I mean, they lost Ken Block, who was one of the most popular drivers, and feel bad for this group, the whole association and everything. This is one of the difficulties in what they do. Yeah. It does happen, but this is a photo from happier times there.
Yeah, and as we've heard from any sport or anything that has an element of danger, they pass doing what they love doing. So
precisely.
I guess if you could find a high note, that would be it.
I need to apologize, first of all. Friday on the show, I mentioned that the Paints had a doubleheader for Sunday. I cut all the commercials for the Chillicothe Paints, and I was a week ahead in my brain. Plus, when I was doing the show, it was actually like 2:45 in the morning Friday due to some technical issues and things. So at any rate, my apologies if you showed up at VA Memorial Stadium and going, hey, I thought we got...
Dan told
First
me.
of all, my kids were supposed to get in free today, and the gate's locked. What's going on? Well, it was my fault. They have a 5-game homestand opening this week, which will take you into a doubleheader on Sunday. So,
I did hear that commercial this morning.
Did you? Okay. So, my many apologies if I misled you. If you were up and watching with us at 2:45 in the morning on Friday,
you were off the hook until you just laid it all out there. Confession is good for the soul.
What do we say about transparency, right?
Confession is good for the soul. Yeah.
You bet. All right. This date in history, the Litter Media Wayback Machine goes back to
1955.
All right. Details are coming up right after these words from our fine sponsors. For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. Just
it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Michelob Ultra.
This date in history, as Mike says, we have dialed up 1955.
Going to a place called Disneyland. Not Disney World, Disneyland.
I've never been to Disneyland.
Me neither.
I've been to Disney World.
Me too. Well, it was on this date in 1955, Walt Disney's metropolis of nostalgia, fantasy, and futurism opens on this date. Get this, the $17 million park. What would this thing cost today?
Oh, it's got to be in the billions.
Yeah. Theme park was built on 160 acres of former orange groves in Anaheim, California, and soon brought in staggering profits. Today, Disneyland hosts more than 18 million visitors a year who spend close to $3 billion. Now, that's just Disneyland. I don't know what kind of numbers they get at Disney World. But, yeah, it all started on this date in California in 1955.
Do you remember when you first saw like these saucer and cups and all, and it's like, what is this? And it was Alice in Wonderland and the whole deal. Yeah. I remember seeing the log ride and all that kind of stuff. And I, whenever the Wonderful World of Disney would come on a Sunday night, I'm like, I want to go. Yeah. And we never made it to California for that. But then in 1973, I believe it was, we went down to Disney World, had the opportunity to walk through there. And I'll never forget, we went into the Monsanto building. And this was one of these panoramic screens. It went all the way around the room. And my dad was watching, and I remember it was a camera was on the front of a car, and they were going through streets in Paris. And I remember Dad just kind of leaning over and grabbing the handrail just so he could stay straight, standing straight up. But yeah, Magic Mountain, the whole deal.
Yeah, I remember the first time we went. Sarah was just really little, and we had a picture at the house. She had her Mickey Mouse ears on, and she was on my shoulders for the parade. And one of the camels, not a real camel, but one of the stage camels that came by, it was spitting. And I think it spit on her. It's just water. But we got a kick out of that, yeah.
We were there with my Aunt Ethel and Uncle Joe and my cousin Kathy. We were two peas in a pod. She was the sister that I never had. Well, sorry, Deb. She was the sister my age that I never had.
His real sister, Deb.
My real sister was 9 years older than me. So, but I really walked into that one.
You got cut out of her will right now, yeah.
But here we were standing there watching the parade. And walking out, I heard my Aunt Ethel go, woo, like that. Turned around, it was the king from the Lion King, or not the Lion King, but the Jungle Book.
Oh, okay.
He had come up and put his paws into her ribs.
Oh.
And she just, she let a little whoop out. And, yeah, as let's see, 1973, I'd have been, 11? As an 11-year-old kid, that was kind of cool to see your aunt kind of jump and her eyes go real big.
It was better than the ride,
and because it was the king was coming. It's good to be king.
Yeah, I've heard that somewhere, yeah.
Radio time.
You know, over the last week, I probably should have thought of something, but
nothing came to you.
I was on vacation. Well, kind of. I was sending news in during the week, but
you have talked about this before, I believe. But you know, we've got new people watching all the time. Wasn't one of your trips to Disney World radio related?
Yeah. At that time, one of the networks, the WKKJ, the Country Music Network, many people might remember. Charlie Derrick, Catfish in the morning, Mark Edwards in the afternoon. That was an ABC product. Well, ABC owned by Disney, although there's rumors that Disney may be selling ABC. And they had a conference at Disney World. So we went down and stayed in the Contemporary Resort. That's the A-frame shaped where the train monorail goes through it. That was kind of neat. While I was at meetings, the daughter and wife were at the pool. And Sam Donaldson was the guest speaker at a dinner. I think it was on a Saturday night. Hilarious story that I don't have time to tell. But Sam was...
Mr. Serious, first of all.
Yeah, he was the guy that when President Carter or President Reagan were getting ready to get on the Marine One to go to the airport, he would be the one yelling out the questions. And he said, at this meeting, he said, people always thought I was anti-Ronald Reagan. He said, I was just as hard on Jimmy Carter. He said, I always looked at myself as an equal opportunity harasser. But it was questions that, the public generally wanted to know. But I got a real kick out of Sam Donaldson that night, kind of eye-opener, because you get a perspective of certain people, but when, let their hair down, so to speak, it's a whole... But he was a Texas boy. In fact, Dan Rather was from Texas originally, too. So,
I what's happened to those folks?
Good question.
Now we know that Sam Donaldson has passed away, but what I mean is what happened to that kind of reporting?
Actually, I think Sam's still living.
Oh, is he?
I think I just saw him on an interview here.
Okay.
Unless you know something I don't.
No, I thought he had passed.
I think he's still with us.
I apologize.
Just not on the air.
For a third time, I'm apologizing today. My apologies to the Donaldson family if what I said is untrue. But what happened to those types of reporters who merely was not trying to get a lot of publicity, not trying to get all the hits for their websites and all that kind of stuff? We just don't see that anymore.
Yeah, and I think, guys like Walter Cronkite, who was the most trusted man in America.
Next to Mike Smith.
In real life, Walter Cronkite, I guess, was a very politically liberal person, but it didn't come across over the air that way.
Yeah.
And I long for news media that tells both sides of a story.
And I don't know that it's the reporters as much as it is maybe those behind the scenes that are pushing the buttons to make this happen.
And sometimes, in all fairness to reporters, you're trying to do both sides of a story, but one side, they won't talk to you.
Yeah.
But you at least need to say, we reached out to them, they declined to, talk to us. But you got to let that stuff be known that you're trying to tell both sides of a story.
Yeah.
And be fair to both sides. And let you decide, I don't believe that. Yeah.
And being first doesn't always mean what it should. What it should be is being first with the news that has been vetted and is true, as opposed to just, we're throwing speculation out there to see what...
If you've ever seen the movie All the President's Men, which is about Watergate, the Washington Post, in that movie, Ben Bradley, I think, was the editor, and when the two reporters wanted to release something, he said, our rule is we have to have 3 independent sources saying the same thing before we will go with that. 3. And now it's like, some anonymous one source, and who the heck knows who they are.
We need 3 to dispel what we just said.
Yeah, exactly. So it's all on its head from the way it used to be. So.
Yeah. See, I knew I would pull a radio thing out of him. Yeah. There you go. Coming up in just a moment, we're going to talk about Pickaway Ross Career and Technology Center's adult education program. That is on the way, so stick close for that. And then we're back at it again tomorrow.
Yes, recording an interview for our Fairfield County Special Edition, which plays back at 10 on Wednesday. But we'll talk more about that on tomorrow's show.
And if you missed our Pickaway County feature from last week with Round Town Radio's Travis Young, that's available on our YouTube channel and also on the videos page here as well on our Facebook page. So until tomorrow, thank you for watching. We'll see you then with another edition of Litter Media Live.